From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Belinda Akilami.
Welcome. Tonight, Independent National Electoral Commission announces the presidential election result from Ekiti State as it opens its election collation center for the presidential election. Labour Party calls for the cancellation of the presidential election results over what it describes as intimidation and violence against its supporters. And Social, Economic and Rights Project, SERAP, seeks U.S. visa ban for politicians and other perpetrators of violence in the just concluded elections. The Electoral Commission, INEC, has been speaking on the challenges associated with its results viewing portal, IREV, claiming it is not under attack in any way. INEC National Commissioner and Chairman Information and Voter Education Committee, Mr. Festus Okoye, in a statement, explains that the Commission takes full responsibility for the problem and regrets the distress they might have caused the candidates, political parties and the electorate. According to him, the problem is totally due to technical hitches relating to scaling up the IREV from a platform for managing off-season state elections to one for managing nationwide general elections. It is indeed not unusual for glitches to occur and be corrected in such situations. The electoral body therefore assures that its technical team is working assiduously to solve all the outstanding issues, adding that users of the IREV would have noticed improvements since last night. A day after Nigerians went to the polls to elect a new president that will run the affairs of the country for the next 4 years, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has announced the result of that election from Ekiti State in the southwest. The INEC chairman who made the announcement after the commission opened its collation center in Abuja today, later adjourned the exercise to Monday, February the 27th, when more states are expected to present their results at the National Collation Center.
The National Collation Center for the 2023 presidential election officially opened by noon on Sunday, February 26, 2023.
And international observers.
The INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, set the ground rules for the exercise.
As soon as any of the scopes arrives, the process of collation will begin. Once the process begins, the collation center will be open all day and all night, subject only to short breaks as may be announced by the returning officer.
Unlike other previous briefings, the hall has the presence of more party agents as well as local and foreign observers.
If any of the candidates...
The INEC chairman makes an appeal regarding the announcement of results.
I appeal to all political parties and media organizations to draw their figures only from the official results released by the Commission as the only body constitutionally responsible for releasing official election figures.
The meeting then adjourned for 5 hours as there was no state results available for presentation. At exactly 6:18 p.m., the meeting reconvened with the Ekiti State Collation Officer, along with the state's resident electoral commissioner, ready to present its report.
The total number of votes received by the presidential candidates of each of the political parties are as follows. Party AA, 29 votes. Party AAC, 108 votes. Party APC, 201,494. Party NNPP, 264 votes. Party PDP, 89,554 votes.
The collation officer gives additional information regarding void votes.
Total number of rejected votes, 6,301. Total number of rejected votes, 6,301. Total vote cast, 314,472. Total vote cast, 314,472. There are two places where elections where we had cancellation. Ekiti local government, Ward 4, polling unit 7, and Ekiti East local government, Ward 7, polling unit 6. The reasons for the cancellation are bypass of beavers and overvoting.
In the absence of objections from party agents, the collation officer submits the results to the INEC chairman, who is the chief returning officer for the 2023 presidential election. The sitting is then adjourned to Monday, February 27, when more state collation officers are expected to present their report.
Meanwhile, collation of results are also ongoing across many states in the country. Our next report brings an update of the situation across the states.
The state INEC offices across the country have also been busy collating presidential and National Assembly results. In Katsina, the home state of President Muhammadu Buhari, results have so far been declared in 7 out of 34 local government areas. Still in the northwest, in Kano State, 18 out of 44 local government collation officers have presented results of the presidential elections in the state. The state collation officer, Professor Lawal Suleiman Bilbis, along with the resident electoral commissioner, are receiving the results at the Kano INEC headquarters.
1,179 votes. No doubt.
While in Yobe State, collation of presidential and National Assembly elections has commenced at the INEC headquarters in Damaturu, the state capital.
178 registration areas.
In the north-central Benue State, Collation Center for the presidential election opens and has started computing results from the 23 local government areas of the state. Down to the south-south in Delta State, reports say there are no activities at the State INEC Collation Center as results from the various local governments are still being expected.
Unfortunately, that is very serious and alien to me, because every polling unit is supposed to have a result sheet. Where they don't have, they ask the office to provide a replacement result sheet. And in Warri Southwest, they had that issue. The dispatch driver that came and took a replacement result sheet to cover the result of the areas that didn't have result sheets.
In Rivers State, the INEC Collation Center has commenced collation of results from the 23 local government areas of the state. So far, 5 local government areas have been collated, with 2 turned down by the collation officer over irregularities in computation. In Ebonyi State, results presented for equal local government area by the electoral officer, Dr. Okechukwu Ibiam, have just been rejected as officials cited inconsistencies in the figures presented.
Votes called by parties.
The Labour Party is crying foul, citing manipulation and manufacturing of results by INEC officials in states across the country, especially Lagos, Edo, Rivers and Imo State. At a press briefing at the party's headquarters in the nation's capital, Abuja, the party's national chairman, Mr. Julius Abure, also decries the violence meted out on Labour Party supporters, faulting the claims by INEC that the commission's server was down and calling on the commission to cancel the presidential election results.
That confirmed that manipulations of the presidential elections results have occurred in Lagos, Rivers, Imo, parts of Edo State, Delta State, and some northern states. These manipulations were carried out under the watchful eyes and connivance of police officers at the various election units and INEC offices. The decision of INEC to go ahead to announce these doctored results based on manufactured voting has defeated the efforts made by Nigerians to see that the Electoral Act was amended to allow for electronic transmission of results. The Labour Party and our presidential candidate, His Excellency Peter Obi, only accept results which reflect the actual voting result obtained at the polling units across the country. The truth is that it is their mandate that is about to be stolen. And I expect people to defend their mandate. That is my position. So, if there is a daylight robbery, there must be a remedy to it.
In the meantime, civil society organizations and election observers are also noting irregularities with the election process and calling on the electoral umpire INEC to address these issues to engender trust in the process. At a multiple media briefing in the nation's capital, the groups are also decrying pockets of violence across the country and logistic challenges faced by the electoral umpire. They are also curious as to why election results are slow to be uploaded on the INEC portal and collation centers.
The 2023 presidential election has entered the collation stage across the country, and election observers in Abuja are noting issues with the process.
The delay in uploading the result undermines public confidence in the results transmission process as it deviates from the guidelines for the elections and it fails to meet citizens' expectations. Thus far, the 2023 presidential elections are once again a missed opportunity.
The Situation Room observed that there were delayed deployments of election officials and materials across the country, leading to late commencement of accreditation and voting in more than 70% of the polling units visited. In Abia, Anambra, Bayelsa, Ebonyi, Kaduna, Enugu, Imo, Rivers, and Kaduna states, as well as the Federal Capital Territory, there were significant delays in the commencement of polls, with several polling units opening as late as 11 a.m.
Connected Development's electoral intelligence tool, Uzabi, highlights trends across the nation, which they say point to the gaps within the structure of the electoral process.
There are several reports indicating that states like Ekiti, Cross River, Imo, and River States have had their local government areas collation centers relocated without adequate information to stakeholders. In Ekiti especially, we have it on good authority that all local government areas collation centers were relocated, and in most cases, accredited observers were outrightly denied access and new locations were shrouded in secrecy. We have seen issues of elections not holding in some local government areas and results are being collated. This happened in Orul East, Imo State, where our observers confirmed that there was no elections held. And in fact, some voters were asked to vote in a private residential building of a party chieftain. And at this time, these issues can be addressed. Let us not wait any longer. Mr. Chairman, address these issues.
All eyes are on INEC at the moment to see if these concerns are addressed as the vote collation process continues across the country.
In part two, after the break, Social, Economic and Rights Project, SERAP, seeks U.S. visa ban for politicians and other perpetrators of violence in the just concluded elections. That's in a moment. Join us again. back. If you're just joining us, you're watching an abridged version of the news at 10, broadcasting live from Channels Television in Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, announces the presidential election result from Ekiti State as it opens its election collation center for the presidential election. Labour Party calls for the cancellation of the presidential election results over what it describes as intimidation and violence against its supporters. Independent National Electoral Commission says challenges associated with its result viewing portal, IREV, is caused by technical hitches and not any intrusion on its systems. Elections were conducted today in some polling units in parts of the country where the presidential and National Assembly elections failed to hold on Saturday. Some voters in Kaduna State cast their ballot at the Learners Junction polling unit 005 in Jukun local government area. Meanwhile, some voters at the University of Calabar Teaching Hospital eventually exercised their franchise after waiting for hours again for INEC officials to arrive with materials.
Voting continued in some polling units in parts of the country where the presidential and National Assembly elections failed to hold on Saturday due to the late arrival of INEC staff and other logistics challenges. In Kaduna State, some of the voters told Channels Television that they stepped at the polling unit to enable them perform their civic duties this morning.
Yesterday we were here to vote, but unfortunately their machine had issues, so we couldn't vote. And some of us were opportune to go in, but again the beavers did not see our details. We were wondering why. Why would the beaver not see our details? And we're duly registered, we have our PVCs.
Meanwhile, voters in the University of Calabar Teaching Hospital polling unit Ward 2 have begun casting their ballot after waiting for hours for INEC officials to arrive with materials for the continuation of the exercise there. Voting was suspended there yesterday due to the malfunctioning of the BVAS machines.
I am happy that finally I have voted. Yesterday we were here from morning till evening. Nothing happened here yesterday. You see that the river they brought was bad.
In Yobe State, as at 1 p.m. on Sunday, the collation of presidential election results was yet to commence at the INEC headquarters in Damaturu, the state capital. It was gathered that results from local government areas that are far away from the state capital may arrive late. Collation of results may not be starting anytime soon in Jos Plateau State, as polling officials were held hostage until early this morning after they suspended the exercise due to reported hitches with the BVAS. The voters had refused to allow the officials leave the polling unit 084 Rushari Rakubu in Jos North area. The electoral officer of Jos North, Mr. Fred Ogboji, accompanied by the registration area technical officer, later fixed the malfunctioning BVAS machines.
The Resident Electoral Commissioner has directed that voting will continue. Amen. And I'm going back to him now, and with the head of one of the staff of the ICT here, go back to the office to feed it back. This is the situation. So we'll get back to you very soon. But meanwhile, the ad hoc are here. So as soon as possible, I think the vote will still come so that you can conclude your voting.
Abia, Kebbi and Bayelsa states are some of the other states where results collation may not start anytime soon, as voting is expected to continue today. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, had postponed the polls in the states owing to violence perpetrated by political thugs who carted away some BVAS machines. Meanwhile, in some parts of the FCT, counting of ballots in the presidential and National Assembly elections spilled over to the early hours of this morning in some polling units. At polling units 138 and 039 in Lugbe, the exercise was extended there due to late commencement. These challenges of logistics mean only one thing: another busy second day of voting and long night of ballots counting for the commission staff and the electorate.
Now, after taking part in the election, some residents in Lagos are narrating their experience. Channels Television visited some parts of Lagos after Election Day to feel the pulse of the residents.
The streets in Lagos is calm and quiet on the day after the presidential election. Some voters share their experience on Election Day with Channels Television.
My experience voting yesterday was peaceful. The environment was peaceful. I voted at the primary school behind Mobile, and that's where I've been voting for the past 12 years. And it was peaceful. People checked their names on the board, and where they pasted the names.
We stayed on, people were sharing drinks, it was a happy situation. We had other people come in, policemen, people from INEC, it was some observers, but it was like a community thing. Everybody was happy. There was nobody fighting, there was nobody pushing. Although we were, struggling as usual like Nigerians that we are, but it was still a thing. Eventually, I voted. I'm so glad that I was able to vote. It was my first time ever.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, received some commendation for how the election is conducted, despite obvious challenges.
I was able to go to the place where the papers were pasted. I saw my name quickly, got on the line, and I was able to vote. I'll give them 8 over 10. And I only took 2 out just because they didn't come on time. We were supposed to start 8:30 and finish 2:30, so they changed the time to 9:30 to 3:30 to accommodate for their lateness. So by and large, beyond what I probably would have expected of a voting experience in Nigeria, I think they did well.
Well, I'll give them an 8 because of the beavers. That made the difference, because then that cut off a lot of people that would have rigged or that would have actually wanted to sell votes and things like that.
Everyone is waiting with bated breath as the results is eagerly anticipated.
I'm very anxious, and same way other my friends around that will be talking, so I'm very anxious. I cannot just wait to hear the announcement of results.
They speak on the type of change they look forward to seeing.
New ways of doing things, new governance structures, everything should be revamped. That's what we need.
Whoever wins should shape the system of the country, the economic system of the country. Scarcity of money, no food, no fuel. Things are so hard. Whoever wins, we know what to do. All of them have the manifesto.
As Lagosians gear up for a new week, all eyes will be on INEC as they look forward to an end of suspense.
In Edo State, details are emerging concerning the violence that allegedly put an abrupt end to voting in some units in Ego local government area, in particular Ward 1, Uwelu. The local government collation officer included this information along with others presented at the Edo State Collation Center for the presidential election in Benin City, the Edo State capital.
Ward 1, Uwelu. I think it involved 6 polling units. Uwelu code is 5, 6 polling units with total registered voters of 4,362. What we heard was that from the POs was that while voting was going on, as they were announcing the results, some persons came there, fired gunshot into the air, and started burning the ballot papers, and they had to run away for their lives. So they could not recover electoral materials and bring it back for us to document. Then we also had some problems in Ego involving some polling units where the polling officers and the SPO disappeared with election results and materials, even though the agents had them. And they did not surface until later this morning. And the agents, it almost caused some problems. So after holding some meetings with them, we decided to just cancel that result so that we can't use it because there was already too much of suspicion. And
the main news again. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has announced the presidential election result from Ekiti State as it opens its election collation center for the presidential elections. The Commission chairman says the collation of results will continue on Monday at 11 a.m. And that concludes our abridged version of the news at 10. Our coverage of the election continues with our special program, the 2023 Verdict. I'm Melinda Akinlami.